One day, after watching a lot of Watch Mojo, YouTube algorithm suggested to me Jeremy Jahns' channel. And I don't remember exactly what the first video was, film review that I watched, but the image stuck in my head. The red background, the guy wearing a jacket and just rambling on without any cuts in between, making us laugh in between as well.
There is merit in being very, very abreast with what's happening and what's releasing in streaming, in obviously in Hollywood in general, be it mainline films. So that's why he's always there on search. So again, I don't have a particular time when I know him from, but it's at least for the past 4 to 5 years I've seen that red background which hasn't changed too much. Alright, welcome to another episode of Creator Deep Dive by Thousand Faces Club. Make sure you've subscribed to the YouTube channel, by the way. Today, in this episode, we'll be speaking about the most awesometacular YouTuber or a film YouTuber out there, Jeremy Jahns. But before we speak about Jeremy, I want to say hi to Shubham. Shubham, how's it going, man? How are you?
Hi, I was about to say awesometacular.
Huh.
In response
but
to
I already
question,
sort of used that, so now you can use
mean,
some other adjective perhaps.
I mean, I'm at least not T minus.
You're not T minus
about
exactly.
This conversation. Yeah.
Exactly. So if you all are confused by what these words are or what these terminologies are, you're probably not alone, because the creator that we're featuring today has his own lexicon, has his own rating scale. That video is actually very popular, where he describes his rating scale, and is a true blue film YouTuber, right? Is a film tuber, or created the genre. I wouldn't say created, like he wasn't the first, definitely, but he's someone who's really stuck it out. He's been doing that format, Shubham, which is him, a weekly movie that's been released, the red background, right? And it's I call it the YouTube red color. It's a slightly deeper red, but it's got that very it's very visible, and like you want to click on it, right? Because red, of course, is a very attractive color. So this guy has been uploading videos consistently for so many years now that you almost have definitely seen him. Although you haven't seen the videos, but you've definitely seen these thumbnails, right? If you look at the thumbnails, it's very peculiar. Him in his black, he looks like John Wick to me. Like what personality do you think he gives off, right? Because he has these terms of his own. He's wacky
Again.
But yeah, he just like the John Wick of YouTube, I think, in a good way, not in a violent way.
I mean, again, you used the term that I wanted to use, John Wick of YouTube. But see, that's the thing about this creator, right? People agree on a lot of things about him.
Yeah.
Like the content is very simple to consume.
Yeah.
And it's no fuss.
And
it looks very inviting. I mean, it almost, looks as if you can also do what he's doing.
Correct.
You just need a red background. You just come there. There's a background. There's, intro music, which is like very short.
Yeah.
And I don't think there are even cuts even in between. It's just like in one go, he does all the video.
He actually started out in the movies as a projectionist, right? Like he used to showcase movies and whatnot. He used to work at the movies. And I think that love for cinema is very palpable in his videos. Like he's very passionate about whatever he speaks. And I also think that he, along with the movie review, of course, he also brings a lot of his personality, right? He's got that a very brooding American personality that he sort of, at the same time chill. Like you'd want to chill with this guy as well. But he brings that to every single one of his videos, right? And I think in the review genre, right, particularly in the review genre, sometimes people just focus too much on the subject material. Right, but not about themselves. While creators like a Jeremy Jahns, I've seen this across videos that they bring their own style, right? So what you were saying that you can perhaps, it looks like you can copy them. You might copy the aesthetic, but to copy that personality, I think that's something that's been cultivated for a very long time. And he has his fan base, right? He has his fan base, so it's extremely fan, And how did you get introduced to him, Shubham? If I were to ask you, like, was there any one particular video?
I mean, it's funny you asked this question because I was introduced to his work through a channel that produces a lot of mechanical sort of content.
Okay, like AI.
And that is
AI.
Watch Mojo.
Oh, of course.
Watch Mojo.
WatchMojo.com.
They have a very set pattern. Yeah, they say like if you like this more, content, get subscribe. I mean, there is no face at Watch Mojo. You just find these lists that you may disagree with, but suddenly one day, after watching a lot of Watch Mojo, YouTube algorithm suggested to me Jeremy Jahns' channel. And I think, I don't remember exactly what the first video was, first film review that I watched, but sort of, the image stuck in my head.
Yeah.
The red background, the guy wearing a jacket and just rambling on without any cuts in between, making us laugh in between as well.
Correct.
So I remember the feeling of watching him for the first time, but I don't remember the video.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually, it's interesting that you mentioned that you don't remember the video, because I myself don't remember the first time I encountered. Like, of course, there was definitely the YouTube recommendation algorithm, or I think it was not for me. It was not through another video, but just on search, right? Because I think the merit of being a YouTuber, like being a consistent YouTuber, right, is that whenever you search for a film, right, whenever you, let's say, he's done a latest video on No Hard Feelings, which is a film by Jennifer Lawrence. So you might want to look at the trailer for No Hard Feelings, or might want to look at the review. So automatically, the way his channel has been constructed is that he will pop up in the first 3 to 4 suggestions, right? It is
yeah,
inevitable, because the way his YouTube machinery has been designed is that whenever there's a recent movie that's coming out, he will do a review on it, and he keeps it short. Right? It's not a very long sort of a video. So I think there is merit in being very, very abreast with what's happening and what's releasing in streaming, in obviously in Hollywood in general, be it the mainline films. So that's why he's always there on search. So again, I don't have a particular time when I know him from, but it's at least for the past 4 to 5 years I've seen that red background, which
yeah,
hasn't
yeah.
changed too much.
He writes, as a description of his channel is like a show of movie reviews and comedy.
Right.
So, I mean, that's his way of dodging that bullet of like you're wrong about this, you're wrong about that.
Right.
No, it's just comedy. If you don't like it, laugh at it.
Right.
So
Right.
it's a very good mix of content.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, and relating to that, I actually want to share my screen and talk you through some of the strategies that he's done on his YouTube, as to what his thumbnails are, what his content really looks like.
Yeah, let's look at the numbers as well.
First of all, I want to what you said about comedy completely holds true. That is his YouTube description. And also, let's focus on this. If I make you laugh, then I've done my job. Subscribe and spread the word. So clearly, this guy's intent, and the reason why, Shubham, both of us also don't remember which movie it was, because that actually doesn't matter, right? The movie
Yeah, correct.
itself, he's not you might say that, oh, he's from the film fraternity because he used to be a projectionist and whatnot, but actually it's not about the films. It's about Jeremy, the guy who has a pretty interesting take on films. He has his own rating scale, his own way of looking at things. So you're not looking at for the film, you're looking at for Jeremy's perspective on it, right? So I think that for me really shows that you're a personality based YouTuber who has quite a few things to say, right? So once we look at the numbers, right, once we go to the home tab and we look at the reviews that he's pulling in, right, or even if you and go to the videos that he has, I would say it's about the million mark, right, which is 100,
Yeah, and which is really impressive for a
really,
movie reviewer.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that I have seen him touch that, I've seen him breach that, but I would say it's slightly inconsistent now, right? It falls in the sub million range, where it used to go to the million too. So I don't know what this signifies. Are people not interested in all of these things anymore, or is the format sort of dated? But
I have a different take on that
Mhm.
because I think now more and more movies are coming out on OTT.
Right,
That's why he has to review a lot of films,
sure.
and I think a theatrical release
Hmm.
garners more views. Let's say when it comes to reviewing and all. So I don't know if you can gauge it from the thumbnails, like which movie was released in the cinema halls, which released
Hmm.
on Amazon Prime or Netflix.
Hmm.
I think it's down to that also because I guess he is touching 1 million for very famous films, which he
Yeah.
was doing previously. But I think he's reviewing indie movies as well.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah,
It's very interesting. Like, he speaks about, again, wide gamut, right? It's not just one thing that he's speaking about, and I don't think there's one genre that I can attach him to, right? Because he's also speaking about Renfield, which is such a small film, but at the same time,
yeah,
he's speaking about Super Mario Bros., which was one of the biggest films of the year, right? So you really see a lot of variety there. And what I was talking about, the thumbnails, right, Shubham? Like, just look at the uniformity, right? Like, people you have. Famously, the new wave of YouTubers, there's so much of thought that goes into the thumbnail, which is great because your content is also so dynamic and you do A/B testing and whatnot. For Jeremy, do you see anything in common? I do, which is just him in a pose like this, in a pose like that particular red background. YouTube red, as I call it.
yeah. And
And yeah.
and did you notice that how seamlessly the
Hmm.
thumbnail pose gels with the automated video when the preview video,
Correct. Correct. Yeah. I mean,
preview
that's a
section
great
of video. I mean,
observation. That's a great
it's just
observation
like this.
actually.
It's
When you
yeah,
just scroll over it and it just
yeah,
sort of plays something, and
so
so
seamless. Yeah,
seamless, right? So it's very no fuss, right? Like he's not trying to be somebody else because he knows that this works. How sustainable is it? That's another thing. But also, let's go to his short stab, and let me ask you actually, what do you think his short stab is going to look like? Let me quiz you on this. Like, what do you think his short strategy is, and what's it like?
see, I mean, his videos are already in the shorter genre. I
Sure.
mean, he
Yeah.
reviews movies like 7, 6 minutes,
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
3 minutes, 3 minute long.
Three
I can
minutes
see
as
no
well.
hard feelings.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure he'd be interested in going, further down the line of shorts.
Well,
So
well, you're
let's
actually
see.
you're actually pretty right there, Shubham, because he's done
Wow,
four shots, right?
only four.
Only four. So clearly, I can see it by the very the description and the thumbnail and whatnot that he experimented with it, but he didn't enjoy it. Right? He was like, if I'm doing this much of effort, if I'm
Yeah, yeah,
putting this
yeah,
much of effort, I'll rather just do a review, right? Because these are all short form videos, which is about, let's say, Mortal Kombat or Legacy of Kain, whatnot. All of these things. Clay
yep.
didn't enjoy it, and you can almost look at his
And he
face
looks
like,
weird. Yeah, he looks weird in this. So it also harkens back to the point
yeah,
about the framing.
yeah,
Since he comes from the film fraternity,
yeah,
he knows his frame. He
correct.
knows his face. Now he looks so weird in these thumbnails
In these
because it's like
thumbnails, yeah,
handheld camera clearly, which
correct.
is moving with him. So yeah,
That aesthetic is only not matching, and it didn't really click. And even the views are, I mean, okay, sure, you
yeah,
have 173K, but for somebody with 1.9 million subs, not the best, right?
yeah,
um
yeah, yeah,
right. So live is actually non-existent. Right, so he has no live videos, and we didn't mention how he's a personality based YouTuber, and you would expect him to do perhaps some live sessions, perhaps some live videos where he's interacting, but I don't think he's really interested. Of course, he has a playlist, right? Because it really helps. If I have to look at 2018, what are the movies released there, right? So if I'm a film buff, I know
oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
in Jeremy Jahns, I have a film buff as well. So it's that friendship, that respect, that both of us are film lovers, and you've done this for the community almost, right? So I think
right,
I
right,
really
right.
love that about him, that he has these playlists created and older movie reviews and whatnot. So not too much experimentation there, but yes, it has been segregated by time. The community tab is also, I mean, sure, just a bit of work that he's put out here and there, but not
Yeah,
too much, right? Not too much at all. In fact, 2019 he did something 3 years ago. So again, very no fuss. He
keeps it.
doesn't
Yeah,
go into the
keeps it really
community.
simple.
Very, very, very
Yeah, yeah.
simple. Doesn't even have other channels, but look at this, other awesometacular people, which I really appreciate, because this
Wow.
man here,
Yeah.
Chris Tuckman, is perhaps his biggest competitor, and of course he's at 1.9 million, they're 2.03
He's
million.
still giving him a shout out.
Still
That's
giving him a
great,
shout
man.
out, right? Which
Yeah.
basically tells me that they really want each other to succeed in this world where YouTube is really taken over in terms of the forms of entertainment. They are publishing on YouTube, but they want you to go and watch something else, right? They want you
Correct.
to sort
Correct.
of
Yeah.
consume some other media. So for that, I think it's great that they're supporting each other. Hey, you know what? Chris Tuckman, sure, he might be taking some of my subscribers, but to support that work. So I really like that about him, and yeah, I think his strategy, I would say, is extremely simple, no fuss, but at the same
Yep.
time is humorous, right? So I think that
Yeah.
that for me is it what is really seals the deal for me as a YouTube consumer. But the obvious question here, Shubham, right? Like, and we've arrived at an interesting precipice. Is that where does our man Jeremy go from here, right? Because do you think he should continue making these videos, with the red background that we've spoken about, and continue doing these week on week? Okay, next week there's going to be another film, or next week there's going to be another indie film that's coming out, so we can do that. Or can he perhaps do a podcast, a slightly longer form show? Should he sort of do more collabs,
Hmm.
I guess, because it's only been a solo show, more video essay types? I don't know how that would work. Shorts.
Yeah.
What's the future of Jeremy Jahns?
I would not want to watch any other kind of video content from him
Hmm.
because I really like that framing and his style. But definitely audio,
Hmm.
because that way I can avoid those unnecessary frames,
Sure.
and his style can come through. And it almost feels as if he speaks impromptu, right?
Yeah.
It's as if he's making things up while he's
Yeah.
speaking. So I think he can be a great podcaster,
Absolutely.
and I can listen to him on hours. He can interview, let's say, these people,
Right.
because ultimately, these channels become a way of distribution, right?
Sure.
For filmmakers as well, for
Absolutely.
marketers. So they come, they give interviews. So I think he can interview John Wick to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, because I think he's
Keanu
got that.
Reeves.
Yeah. He's got that personality in him that, you can literally listen to a podcast. And I almost feel kind of wanting to listen to more or consuming more after I've seen his videos, because again, it's so distinct, and the way he describes each of these films and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I would want to sort of do a watch along as well. Perhaps I wouldn't mind that, as to how Jeremy looks at the his the films that he's consuming and whatnot. So I would definitely want the reviews to stay as they are, which is a 3 minute to a 10 minute length. But at the same time, probably, as you mentioned, like a podcast would be great. Something else would be great. But longer form is something that I really hope that he cracks. In terms of, he's a good looking guy. I don't know. I can see him
Yeah.
do a cameo, or I think a John Wick cameo, perhaps. Although I don't know if Keanu Reeves would want another lookalike in that sense. But it's always up for grabs, and he's had such a illustrious career so far, and can only hope for the best for whatever lies ahead.
Yep. Yep. Awesome tacular.
Awesome tacular. This was an awesome tacular episode, of course. So, whatever your thoughts are about Jeremy Jahns, do you have a favorite video of his? Clearly, we didn't have a video that we particularly reminded of, but it was really his personality that stuck out to us. What do you think about Jeremy Jahns? What is his favorite video? Let us know in the comments below, and we will be back next week with another creator, with another episode of Creator Deep Dive here on Thousand Faces Club. See you. I'm Shrivar.
I'm Shubham.
All right. Next week. Bye bye.